That's it. We are live. Today is the 26th of April 2018. On the panel, we have Josh, United, what is he? Flat Earth Unity from America. We've got Levkingfu from UK, Patricia, UK, Astral lives in Denmark, is a UK person, and special guest is Russianvids.
Thank you,
Hello,
Karen.
everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
So,
good morning, wherever you are.
Hello, how are we doing?
Afternoon, good evening. So, you've been quite busy
night.
then, Russia. Good night for us. Yeah, you've been quite busy lately on podcasts, haven't you?
Yeah, I get invited on since, I'm basically, like I said, I'm, basically booted off YouTube. I still make the videos on 153news.net, but it's basically, I'm like in semi-retirement phase, and I'm enjoying the podcast, and I'm getting invited to a lot, but this is really my home here, here in, and I'm the most comfortable here. It's nice to be invited to other podcasts, but I want to make it clear, this is the Russianvids official home.
Hey, that's good to hear.
So it's nice. It's nice to be back.
It sounds good. Have you applied for asylum or what?
Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should. Yeah,
no, you are more than welcome. Believe me, more than welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Astral, Karen, everybody else on the panel and in the chat as well. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, Russianvids, Astral I put a little video out on Sun and Moon, but Astral made a video today, didn't you? Well, redid it. Do you want to explain your little video?
Yes. See, I've got this old atlas, and everyone's seen the atlas of the world with the picture from above, satellite picture taken from one Apollo, whatever, I don't know, supposedly. And if you take a globe and you look directly over the North Pole of a globe, you cannot see Central America. But on a globe, on that map in the atlas taken by NASA, you can. And I'm questioning it. How can you see it on a globe, but you can't see it on that? The opposite way around. How can you see it on that picture but not on the globe? You have to go more around the curve to see it, It's just, weird.
Well, that's the thing is, it's like, nothing ever adds up, makes sense with NASA. And, but the bottom line is this, is when it comes to the flat Earth, you got to forget everything we're told about all the dimensions and everything else when it comes to so-called ball Earth, and just throw everything out and just start from scratch. It's a completely different model. Everything's completely different. Whatever they said the distance is, you can just forget about that. You try to figure out, for example, some people might try to do this. Well, they say the circumference of the Earth is 25,000 miles. So we're just going to stretch out 25,000 miles, from one end to the other or something like this. You can't do that. It's like we don't even know what it is from one end to the other. It's not going to be, anything what we're told. We can't draw any conclusions. Even the flat Earth map they give us, how the continents are and the distance and everything else, we're not sure. All I'm sure about is, water needs to be contained to remain level like it is, and that's impossible on a ball, of course. So, we get the general idea that we live on a flat plane. Is just how everything works out after that is, it's like this. They know, of course, the Earth is flat, and they have these maps out, but of the flat Earth, but what are the the real dimensions, and how does it really look like? And that's the question. So again, when it comes to that Illuminati card that I mentioned so many times, people laugh, but flat earthers know something, and that says a lot. Like, flat earthers know something. The Earth is flat, but there's a little bit more to it. That's what I see, and they want to be the ones that only know that. They want to know they want to be the ones that know exactly, the detailed map of the flat Earth is, and the distance from north to south and whatnot on the not north to south, but the center to the south, and how it all works out, and That's what it comes down to. Is again, they just want to be the ones with all the knowledge and keep us all guessing,
They
even the
want to
ones.
be the ones to lie.
Yeah, and bottom line is they want to have like, well, these people are really close. They figured out the Earth is flat. They know the Earth is flat, but we're the ones that have the actual map, and we're the ones that, it's like they're greedy with the information. Like someone's greedy with money, they're greedy with the knowledge, and this knowledge is power. And they say money equals power, but really knowledge, that's the foundation, and that's why they want to keep everybody else in the dark. That's why they're the so-called enlightened ones. So that's one thing people have to really grasp. When you try to explain the flat Earth, forget about the sun. Like they're thinking about the sun is still 93 million miles away, and from that distance, how is all the Earth not illuminated if it's flat? And as I mentioned before, how ridiculous it is. Someone actually had a flat Earth model, and with the solar system, the so-called solar system, with all the planets, and all of them are balls, and they show the Earth as flat, and they're trying to. It doesn't even work that way. It's it's the sun, the moon.
Russianvids. On that one, Levkingfu also did his own videos this week on that. Lev, are you there? Lev?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Yeah. What's the little videos that I put out for you that you've done this week? Hubble?
We made 50 seconds. Last 50 seconds of video came up. It's supposed to be 3 minutes long, so I've re-uploaded that anyway. But and that one. What about the salt flats? If salt flats are truly flat, when it rainwater, then it should hump. The 100-mile stretch, it should be like about not worth a hump, 1,600 feet kind of thing. So if it rained that much, then you get that much water, wouldn't you?
You're breaking up a little bit there.
That much, but I don't know when it breaks up. So yeah, it's showing you that there's no curvature with water or land, because you've got an inch of rainwater across it, and if it is actually flat there, then and that's kind of proof of no curvature and no gravity as well, because the gravity should make it hump. It's like somebody made a video, and they had an orange, and they cut like a slice off the edge of skin. So what removed all like the shape of a chocolate button. So if you've got a ball and gravity is like that, because it's like the ocean's curve, perfectly round with vacants and stuff like that. So when it rains on salt flats, you should get the same. I made another video about refraction, just saying it's ridiculous, but refraction, the further away you can see, the more refraction bends light, just so it happens to look like Earth. What would it be like then? You know what I mean? Could you be with looks like you're in a bowl, but you're actually in a ball? Yeah, I mean, because
can everybody hear that, or is it just me that he's breaking up?
Yeah,
Very
you're breaking up a bit.
Yeah, very robotic also for me.
It's very hard to hear. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a little bit.
I'll jump back.
Come back, because because we can't really hear what you're saying. Sorry, Russianvids.
No, it's okay. It happens. We have these issues sometimes, and we just work around it. Just try to refresh and try again.
One of his videos was about gravity. Obviously, there was a plastic bag sitting there doing nothing, so the pressure of gravity wasn't making the bag move. And then he had some cigarette ash for the same thing. The ash wasn't being crushed. And then I let him talk about the others. But again, his whole point, there's no gravity and there's no curvature. That's what his videos are about.
Yeah. And the one thing I talk about, a lot is, again, not many people have made videos on the flight simulators, and it would be completely ridiculous to have curvature, which they don't in flight simulators. And then imagine if they did, and then a pilot goes in the real world and flies a plane. Like, where's the curvature? It was in the flight simulator. Why isn't it in the real world? So there's no curvature in a flight simulator. There's no curvature in the real world. So it's so very obvious. I mean, even the video games, they don't have it. So because when you're if, for example, you play a video game and there's no curvature, you're flying around a ball. Then when you get in a plane, like, hey, I was playing this video game and they had the curvature that when you're going around the ball, but they never show it in anything. It's not even in any school textbook. Show me one school textbook that talks, gives a dimension of curvature. There's not one. But so many people are convinced there is curvature, but they cannot produce it. They cannot produce any evidence besides, again, the fisheye lens camera. That's it. So, it needs to be, they cannot prove what they believe in. Like I said so many times, and and it's that simple. We go over this so many times, but I'm still waiting for that evidence. Of course, they're never going to be able to produce any evidence of curvature unless all you hear is, "Oh, I've been in a plane and I've seen it." Well, produce the it's like so many people told me when I made videos about satellites being a hoax years ago. And I said, "You seen a satellite in the space? Where's your evidence?" "Oh, I saw it with my own eyes." Well, why don't you produce some evidence? Why don't you film it? They never do. It's just, empty words. Just no evidence of anything.
That's right.
Same with the curve. They keep talking about a curve that's, like Dell's channel's name, the imaginary curve. That's what it is. It's this imaginary curve that's been implanted into people's minds, and it's like, the old saying, keep repeating a lie over and over, and people believe it, and that's what they've done. Actually, someone sent me a video, was it yesterday, of all these songs that basically pushing the ball Earth and how the Earth spins, and it's in the lyrics, it's programming. The world keeps on turning. It's just. It's everywhere, so.
To do it, I think, because see this sort of 360 thing, and we've got a line of sight, which is a circle. They've managed to use that against us to think that that's a curve, when actually it's just the way our eyes see.
Yeah, it's exactly the way the human eye works, and like I said, last night I was on that podcast, someone was asking, well, I seen the sunset, and again, it's just like a row of telephone poles. Imagine the sun on top of each, on the closest telephone pole as it works its way down, and of course, as you look down the line of the street, you're going to see what appears as the sun is setting, but all the poles are the same height. It's that simple. Just due to perspective, it looks like it's getting lower and lower and lower. It's not. It's all the poles are the same height, obviously. And so it's just how the human eye works, and people can't get beyond that. And that's the major issue.
People won't even think about it, but quite often I've looked up and the sun is not on the horizon, and within minutes it's gone and it disappears. It just disappears.
Yeah, I seen that as well. Same with the moon. It's like I get up in the morning and I'm up for a few hours. I see the moon. Like yesterday, where I live, it was 2:30, and I saw the sun and the moon. 2:30 p.m. I saw the sun and the moon above the horizon. And I tell these little kids that live on our street, on my street, I said, don't let the schools fool you. Earth is we don't live on a ball. And actually what ended up happening is I told these little kids down the street, and actually I didn't know they're going to say this. They went to the teacher, and they said it was a substitute teacher that day. And this kid, he's about 9, 10 years old, told the teacher, he goes, we live on a flat Earth. He goes, and the teacher said, oh no, that's wrong. That's incorrect. We live on a ball. Of course, the teacher has to say that. Even if the teacher knew we live on a flat Earth, they can't say that, because if word got back to the administration, hey, This one teacher said we live in a flat earth. They're done. They're gone. They're fired. So, you know, whatever they believe, they got to just keep pushing whatever the textbook's saying. They know that. You know, they can't deviate from that. And that is complete mind control and indoctrination. And
some of the teachers realize, but they can't say. They have to do the system.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. They know. Yeah, a lot of I'm sure a lot of course, pilots know, people in the military know, but they know what they can and can't say. It's like you heard so many times with I don't want to say the event in New York, but you know, a lot of people, you know, they know the truth, but they can't. They know if they speak the truth, they're gonna be out of a job. You know, like Vinny, you know, same thing. So yeah, people just they look up for number one first, you know, and truth second. A lot of people, when you put the truth first, it's gonna, you know, right or wrong. That's why I respect Vinny. So he lost his job over, you know, speaking the truth. Well, you know, that's
you know where I don't want to say very much more than this because she's not here, but Lady Co-Pilot, they sent her to a psychiatrist because she says that it's flat.
Yeah, well, that's you know, that's beyond sad to me. And we live in such a controlled environment worldwide where you got to just go along with the program. And I would just say simply like this, you know, until you prove, I would say if you want to take me under evaluation, I'm willing to do so once you show me an actual curve without a fisheye lens camera and without CGI, without pictures. Show me some evidence, then I'll go under this evaluation. Until then, you know, I'm not gonna do it. So, you know, that's simple. You know, it's beyond frustrating. You know, and but the bottom line is this: we continue to do what we do because you know we cannot give up on this topic, and we got to keep pushing forward and keep waking up people. And that's the important thing. It's tireless work, and just never give up. If we give up, then you know it's going to be a sad situation. You know, it's like
even if we have to say this, I'm sorry everybody, whoever's here, this is it so far. There is no NASA or anybody else helping, no other organizations. It's just the people.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why we got to keep doing what we're doing. You know, and keep speaking this truth. And it's like persistence breaks resistance type of thing. You know, you got to knock those doors down type of thing. So that's how I see it. And that's why I never give up. And you know, like I said so many times, that's why it's so important when you talk to people on the streets or talk to friends or family or making videos, you got to mention the foundation of all this, you know, and it's so repetitive, a lot of it, but it needs to be, the foundation needs to be, you know, spoken, you know, every time you talk to someone.
There's so much of it though, isn't there, Russianvids? It's not just one thing.
Yeah, that's the thing is. Yeah, you know, and what I've come across is, you know, it's like this. It's like a game of chess where you got people in a checkmate situation and they just run off. And instead of conceiving, they don't have a next move. They just walk away from the chessboard. So that happened to me yesterday when I had about 6 Jehovah's Witnesses show up in front of my house. And I start talking about a lot of things. And then I got brought up the topic of flat earth. Right away, 2 people said, "Oh, we got to go down the street." Then soon enough, two more people left, and you know, and I started talking to them. And this one woman, she came pretty combative, you know. And then I started bringing up things. Then she goes from, she couldn't answer the question. She goes, "Well, it's not that important anyways," you know. And because she couldn't answer any of the questions, and she was baffled and didn't know where to even start or debate. You know, I picked a couple lemons off my tree and I showed the so-called heliocentric model with, of course, the sun in the earth, supposedly how it goes around. And I'm like, you see how the so-called ball earth is going around the sun. How are we getting, where are we having the same constellations as I'm demonstrating how the earth is supposedly spinning and going around that circle around the sun. Can you please explain how do we get the same constellations if we're, basically making this complete circle around the sun in 1 year? How do you get the same constellations, year after year after year? Shouldn't happen. They don't have an answer. They do not, of course not. They don't have an answer, because the answer is we're not moving, we're not spinning, and they're stuck. They're stuck in like, well, it's not that important, or they don't know, or they just have a puzzled look on their face because there's no way they can explain it.
You just told them, oh, that's what you did.
Yep.
They don't like it, do
they? Yeah. Something they never considered, something they never thought of. Like I said, like I mentioned every podcast about the sun's distance. How's it burning in deep space without oxygen? They can't answer. They never even thought about asking these questions, to their teachers or in university or anywhere. They never even conceived, they're just there to absorb and basically take in information, and I've always been one to ask questions, and that's how you're going to get information. If someone just sits there and is just absorbing things, you're going to, they know the majority of the people are just going to absorb whatever is put forth to them, and they're not going to question. Well, everybody else, so-called peer-reviewed science all agrees on this on this information, so it must be true. And they're like, that's simple. There's nothing to debate. It's just so much easier just to take in the information, not question it. And they know, of course, the people that run this world, they know this, that the majority, the 99% are like this. And they think, oh, there's no reason to lie about it, so they must be telling the truth. Well, they don't think deep enough. They don't think deep enough. Like, just like so many of these events, they don't consider, the few want to control the many, and how they do that, how they continue to do that. And
managed it, haven't they?
Well, it's this, Karen. Once people could break through this, and they can break through all the rest of the lies. Like, this is the foundation of all of this world we live in. That's what I try to explain to all these people that say it's not important. I say, do you understand? This is your foundation of the world you live in. This is the basis of where everything is starts from. This is the beginning of the so-called world. Explosion coming from a ball. This is your foundation. Your foundation of this world. It's a lie. So you're gonna believe everything else they tell you after this is the biggest lie that they set in your mind. Don't you understand this? And they just run off, and because deep down inside it's like, well, I got to start over then, and I don't want to do that. It's too far to go back. I got to start over.
I'm sorry. Once you go flat, or once you wake up, you just can't go back. You can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't pretend.
Well, that's the thing, is they don't want to. They know the reality. Like, for example, you just bring up truth to someone that's new to it, and you bring up these kind of topics. A lot of people will want to stop you before you even start, because they're afraid you might say something, of course, that they can't answer, or you're going to reveal that they've been basically deceived their whole entire lives. And that's why they get upset. It's like, don't do this to me. Don't bring these topics up, because you might point something out that I can't answer. So they get angry, they get upset, they get all, bent out of shape, because what you're doing is you're putting them in a situation where their reality is going to start to crumble, and they cannot go there, and they don't want to go there, and that's why a lot of people will try to stop you before you start. So it's really sad that I'm like, look, man, if anybody, man, woman, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's okay to come to new conclusions with new solid information. What's so frightening about that? Why are people scared of the truth? People hate the truth and love lies, and like I said before, people believe anything except the truth, it seems like, in this world, and that's simple. Just go with the popular opinion. That's playing it safe. And that is so sad to me. That's weak. Just go along with everybody else, and they feel safe,
I don't know about anybody else, though. You just have to be open, even if you don't agree with everything, to just have an understanding, or see. Once you open up and you realize that the lie is deeper and deeper, it is a bit mind-boggling to realize, when even with NASA, making everybody believe that space was real, that we've been to the moon, that we've done all that. Yeah, to me, that's making a fake reality and taking the people's freedom away. But to make millions believe it, that's sick.
Yeah,
Just
but
that one.
the thing is this, Karen, the most important thing to them is to keep control under all, that's the priority for them, is to keep complete control. They cannot lose that control. It's like this, though. It's like this, it's like anybody that's, that admits to saying, yeah, I lied to you. Now we can't trust you anymore. That's what it comes down to, is they won't do that. They're going to continue that lie. It's just going to, like someone's trapped in a corner. They're just going to continue just saying, you're repeating the same lie over and over. They're not going to, oh yeah, we lied to you. We're lying to you about NASA. That means you're meant to lying about going to space. Well, we're not going to, be paying it. We're not going to be giving any money to your space program anymore. Since you admit it's a lie. So they can't do that.
Russia.
But it pulls the government into question, doesn't it? Because they all are leading from NASA and they've been lying. So they would know they're lying. Carry on, Astral.
Yeah, I was going to say, Russian, over here in Denmark, 2018 is on one of the TV channels all about NASA and space and exploration and, science. So it's a 2018 indoctrination year, We're buggered.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, it's just, like I said, it's beyond frustrating, when it's so obvious to us and it's so plain to see, and you tell people the truth and they just smile and walk away maybe and just kind of like laugh, it's really sad. I've seen, this specifically with people doing on the street, demonstrations of the flat earth. And it's like I said, I've seen actually someone, after I mentioned, ask these people that what are the so-called dimensions of the ball earth, and these people were asked that specific question, what are the dimensions, and after they said, yeah, we live in a ball, they couldn't answer this. They can't answer anything. They don't know anything. They're just but they're so sure what they have no idea what what they believe in, type of thing. And that's the saddest part to me. They're so sure.
The one I hate worst. I hate it when someone says, well, what difference does it make to me?
Yeah. Well,
what can I do about it?
Yeah, well, these kind of people are like, it's like sweeping a problem under the rug. You got to confront this issue. And again, like I said earlier, I would say to these people, don't you understand this is the foundation of this world? If they're lying about this, about the about living in a ball, then you know that the amount of lies are going to be endless, because like I said, when the foundation is a lie, there's no truth after a lie, and you can't have any truth when the foundation is a lie. So that's what it comes down to, is continuing the lie after the lie. It's like, I don't want to say this, but it's like an analogy I gotta say. It's like, for example, a man really likes a woman, but he's married, and he meets this woman, and she asks, oh, are you married? And he goes, no. And so they get together, they start to talk, and he has to continue this whole lie now. And she's like starting to like the guy, and he's really sweet to her and everything, and takes her out. But the foundation of them being together is based on a lie. Now he has to continue that lie. And there's not going to be any truth when that foundation of that relationship's a lie with him. You know what I mean? So that's what it comes down to. So everything has to be based on that foundation of a lie. So that's the same thing with the ball earth. It's the exact same thing. And then when the realization comes up that it's a lie, it's going to hit a lot of people hard. That's why people are in denial. Just like a relationship, people hear it all the time. Like, the last person to find out that this person's involved with someone else they shouldn't be in that situation is the person involved with it. But everybody else knows. But again, people are just in denial. They don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe it, that type of thing. So it's just an analogy, but that's one thing people need to consider is they don't want to believe. They think they're too smart they think they're too smart, too intelligent to be deceived. But when it comes down to it, no one's above being deceived. So
Do you think some of this has to be like a spiritual frequency thing we've got then? Because how come some of us can see it so clearly, even if you have to wake up? Some people, it's been there since they're children. It never left them. Some people are 20, 30, for whatever age. But when you wake up, you've got like so many in 2016. It's got to be a frequency thing that happened.
yeah.
How come we can see it and they can't see it at all?
Well,
or just
I think it's this, Karen. A lot of people are really invested, in this. For example, if you have someone that's like they went through the school system and they're not like science freaks, like someone wearing a NASA shirt, try to convince them, that the ball earth is a lie. But if you run into someone that's like they went through the school system and they weren't like, say, such like maybe a science buff, and they didn't really like, for example, you hear the people say like that go to like, say, a science fair, and they say, "Isn't science awesome?" I'm like, no, science is not. It's only awesome to people that are deceived. They don't know any better. And they don't realize that they've been lied to. So they're invested. A lot of people that are in complete denial, they'll never turn the other way, is they're so invested in that lie, the lie system, and that's what it comes down to. Where people are more casual, like they went to the school system, and they're not so invested in space, and they're not so invested in like science fiction and the thought of aliens and UFOs and that kind of thing. So that's what it's about. It's like, a lot of people are, like, for example, of course, watch Star Trek or Star Wars, and the thought of other worlds and other planets, and they're so stuck in that, and it seems so interesting to them, and they want to like believe that that's that could be a reality, maybe not exactly like that, but something similar, like there's other worlds and other planets, and we can colonize other worlds, like I made a video about a while ago with the movie Total Recall. It's in the future, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, that one is just like what we're living in, isn't it?
Yeah, and where they
I think it.
They have this. They put the thought in the minds of the millions upon millions of people that watch these movies that, one day we can take a vacation, go to Mars. When Mars is not a physical planet, it's just a, it's like a wandering star in the sky. So this is the fantasy, like the song by Queen. Is this life? Is this just fantasy? Is this the real life, or is it just fantasy? And they put those. Do
you reckon then that the staff know it's a lie? Anybody that's working there, because how are they going to make a set making it look like they're actually on Mars, and all the operation room are going, "Look, we've landed on Mars." They're either all in on it, or how are they doing this to convince the people that work there?
Yeah, it's like that one. I think I forgot what year it was, but they supposedly had that the Mars rover, and they had NASA had a press conference, and they're asked questions like, "How was the landing?" And they said it was good, but they don't show any footage of anything. They're just talking about it, and it was just complete mockery, the whole entire press conference. I'm sure many people have seen it, and $2.5 billion Mars rover, a hoax video I made on that, and they're lying to us, they're stealing from us, and they're mocking us all at the same time. It's sick.
What I find really weird, Russianvids, like if you're watching QAnon or whatever, basically America's on the brink of bankruptcy, and every day millions and millions of dollars go to NASA. How can they do it? Why aren't they saying we need to take some money back? I'm sorry, we've got to sort the country out.
Yeah, we want a refund. It's like that song by Meatloaf, "Life's a Lemon, I want my money back." Hey, NASA, we want our money back, you thieves. What it comes down to.
Why aren't they halting NASA a bit and sorting the country out, rather than every day millions of dollars going to NASA while they're on the brink of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's beyond ridiculous. And like I said, it's sickening. And these people have no shame. All these people at the very top of NASA, you know, and like lower levels in NASA, you know, it's like at the very top. Of course, they know the deception, but lower level people, you know, they're working on certain parts of a rocket or this or that, and you know, they have no idea. They're just like, for example, someone works for the airline industry and they're building, they build jet engines and they move into NASA and they're working on a specific component, and they believe this component is gonna, you know, come together to make this this rocket go in outer space, when that rocket's just made to launch up and go in the ocean. You know, and they might know, but they keep their mouth shut. It's like, they're going to pay me X amount of dollars, and, you know, I'm just going to do, you know, I'm not going to ask any questions. If I ask questions, I might lose my job. So that type of thing, you know, it's like this one guy was convinced satellites are real. He says, oh, I drive a big rig and I delivered a satellite to this one station, you know, I'm like, well, you basically just delivered a prop, you know, that's all, a very expensive prop from one location to another, you know, that's all it comes down to. So they think, like, for example, you know, you might work for a company that deals with so-called satellites, but they never seen one in space. You know, of course, no, we haven't seen anything.
The thing is that someone like Vinny knows that it doesn't work. The materials can't work in the hot and the cold, expanding, all this kind of stuff. So how can the people at NASA believe it then, when they know these people are making this stuff would know?
Yeah, it's just a bit much. And, you know, like I said, they're getting paid handsomely. They're getting paid very well, and they don't want to rock the boat. And look what happened to Vinny. For him rocking the boat, he's out of a job. So that's what it comes down to. You just got to just go along with the program. I'm making money. It might be going to space. It might not be. There's a lot of people out there doubting it, but why am I going to risk my job by asking questions? That's what I believe, what it comes down to. And also, they have a lot of pride in what they're doing, so they want to believe, you know, it's legit in their eyes, you know. But, you know, it's like, you know, like I mentioned before, where you have all these, you know, like so-called successful missions and so-called failures. So they have to have a combination of faking both. They're faking missions that are successful and failures, because if everything they launched was a so-called success, it'd be like, wait a second, they never had a failure. That's why they had the Apollo 13 so-called failure. That's why they had the 1986 Space Challenger disaster, so-called disaster. They're simulating reality where there's so-called disasters, just like Falcon 9, where they had these so-called explosions and failures with launches, because it looks more legitimate. Like, look, there's going to be failures. It looks legitimate when they show failures. So they're really simulating reality, and that's why so many are deceived. It's just the deception goes so deep, and you simulate it like a real rocket launch. Like, there's going to be things that go wrong, and we're going to have to demonstrate to make it even look that much more legit. And they're very clever in the way they operate, but at the same time, if you're awake, they're very transparent as well when you look at the details, you know, like a space shuttle coming back into from so-called outer space back into the so-called atmosphere with no fuel. You know, it's all used up supposedly during the ascent. So it's coming back to Earth with no jet fuel. It's coming back on the spinning ball to make a landing. But you hear the engine.
Re-entering would be like one of the worst things you could do, couldn't it? Because how would you go from a stillness, even though it's supposed to be 17,000 miles an hour or something, 18,000 miles an hour, into our atmosphere without some kind of difference? It wouldn't be a burning, would it?
Yeah, I mean, it's dropping, basically, you know, you look at the size of the wings of a space shuttle, they're minimal. It's dropping like a rock out of space. and it's supposedly coming for landing. But all we see is, like I mentioned before, is you see the so-called launch, and all you see is like CGI after that. And then when it comes in, it supposedly comes back into Earth's atmosphere, supposed atmosphere. All you see is it coming in for the so-called landing, like and you hear the jets. That's why they have the chaser planes to disguise. Because why does the space shuttle need two escorts? Well, that's of course to disguise the jet engines on the shuttles themselves. And I want to maybe I wasn't planning to do this, but let me see if I can find that footage on YouTube, which I was planning to make a video on before I shut down. And it's a good demonstration. If I can find it, I want to put it in the group chat, and hopefully you can share it there, Karen.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, and this is something that I want to show here. Here we go. I found it.
1 second. Okay, you talk about it. I've got to go and retrieve it.
Okay, I'm going to put it right now. I found it right away. I found it pretty quick. Sometimes it takes time to find things. And there it is.
Okay.
It's called the Buran, or the snowstorm or blizzard in Russian. But basically, once you show this, why is the space shuttle shaped like an airplane? But that's all it is. It's just an airplane. You're gonna see this thing once you get to it.
Okay, I'm just it's been a bit slow for me. Sorry.
Okay, take your time.
Just copy. Just taking the time out. You can carry on talking.
Yeah, I'm just looking for some other footage of the Buran actually taking off as an airplane off the runway, and that's what I really want to show. Because the one I sent you, I'm not sure if it actually shows them. I'm trying to look for that footage. Because they show the launch and the landing. I'm looking for the actual footage where it's taking off from a runway like an airplane. It's been a little while. I'm looking for it on YouTube right now, where they actually show it taking off from the runway. And oh, here it is. Yeah, I found it. Okay, it's the one I sent you, I believe. Let me see here. I want to make sure it's the same exact footage. Okay, I found that's the one. Yeah, here we go. Oh, let me see here. Yeah.
Well, it glides in, doesn't it? Sounds like it's got engines on it.
Yeah. But you can definitely see it's an airplane. It's hot. It's no glider. Just look at the footage of any glider, and you can see the difference. How it's coming in, and like I said, the size of those wings as well. But I'm looking for that specific footage again, because I didn't see it in that one video that I sent you of it taking off like an, like I said, like an airplane. I'm just looking through. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm just want to get the exact footage that I want to show of it taking off from the runway. Because all I'm finding is it landing. Okay, let me see here. I'm still looking. Sorry, everybody.
It sounds a bit stupid, really, when you say it's got tiles on it and things. I know they're supposed to be made of something, but really? Wouldn't it be made all of in one thing so that there was no way anything could peel off, or tiles put together, all tiles? Wouldn't it be smooth?
Yeah, they got to make it sound, legit as possible, That's what it comes down to.
It isn't though, does it? It sounds stupid.
Yeah.
I remember something about those tiles falling off it at some stage. I think back in the 80s. Is that right? Is there something about they were losing tiles and they needed to get some sort of new sort of glue or something? I don't know. Yeah, it's all a laugh, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, that's right. I remember. Yeah, I remember that as well. But actually, I think I found it here. Yeah, this is the.
I knew you were looking.
Yeah, I found the footage, I believe.
Not happy, are you, so far? So you need another one.
No, the one I showed you only showed the one I sent you. The link I sent you only showed it only showed landings. This one actually shows the space shuttle taking off like an airplane. Okay. Oh, there it is. I found it. And it's this is so important. And I never got around to making a video on this. So I did cover space shuttles being a hoax about 5-6 years ago on one of my older channels. Here, this is the one, Karen, I want to show you. This is the better one, where it actually shows the space shuttle taking off like an airplane. And I'm going to give you the time stamp, so you can go right to it, get right to it. And I want people to see this. Like, go about 8 minutes into this video I just sent you, and you're going to see the Buran, a Russian space shuttle taking off like an airplane, which they all can. You know, all these space shuttles can, of course. So, like I said, 8 minutes into that video.
Wow. I'll just put 8 minutes in. There you go. It's out now. I've sent it. Are you there, Russianvids?
Yeah, I'm here.
Got Ditra in the chat room. Wise Up's in the chat room.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Adam Media, he's from Iron Realm Media. He's in the chat room. iBolt, Globe Exit, Juan Carlos, Baron. Let's be practicals in the chat room. They're saying hello to you.
Hello, everybody.
Chris Lamb, Truth Seeker. They're all saying hello now.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate that.
Eugene. Roxanne's there, of course.
Oh,
On
Roxanne.
a plane. Yeah, Roxanne.
All right, Roxanne. She's been very helpful.
Yeah. Night Gardener. D-Joy Vision's there. Costa's there. Barrios is there. I think that's how you say it. Drain Man.
Hello to everybody. There's a lot of people. Russian's
We've got,
still looking for his video. Have you found it, Russian?
Yeah, we're still looking.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try to share it myself. Let's see if I can do that. Let me try to get this going here. Okay, let me see here.
Don't share the link. You have to do it as, oh my goodness, the next one. Not share the whole screen, share application.
Share application.
Yeah.
I see a screen share. I can't use that.
Yeah, you screen share, but you do share application, not full screen. Full screen shares your the link to the Hangout.
Okay, let me do a little test here. See what we see here. You guys see what I see?
No.
I could see something. Yeah, I could see
Oh,
that.
maybe it's okay.
How about now? Do you see the
Oh, it might,
Yeah, you're good. Buran, atmospheric, yes.
okay, take a look here. I'm not going to play the audio, but take a look here. This is in
wait a minute.
yeah, this is the same year. Of course, during the 80s when the space shuttle program was going on. Here is the Russian space shuttle, Buran. Now look at this.
Wait a minute,
The reason-
Russianvids.
Yeah.
My computer's just there. I now do it. We're just a little bit.
Okay. Now take a look at this. They say it's basically these are just gliders, but here's your problem. And again, look at the size of the wings. No glider can have wings like that. It's just an airplane, and there you go. There's your so-called space shuttles that cannot fly. They're just gliders. There you see it take off. And I should mention this as well. There's footage of the Buran on top of airplanes being flown around. Why? When it can fly on its own. Why would you need to, So there you go. That's all they are.
It's a puppet show when they put them on top of a plane.
Yeah, exactly. And all they are, and I mentioned before, when you see them on top of planes, let me go to the Buran again. When you see them on top of planes, there's a reason. They're just props. That's it. They're just props, and I'm sure they weigh very, relatively not too much. Let's move up here. Here's like a launch of the Buran in slow motion. But what I want to get to is it's this exact replica of what the U.S. is doing. Look at here. Why would you need to put on top of a plane when we just saw it flying on its own? It's just for show. That's it. And this is no doubt just a look at this little thing holding it up. This is relatively light to be on top of that plane. I mean, it's just they have multiple versions. One's made to be on top of a plane. Does it weigh too much? Here it's coming for a land. Let's speed this up here. But these clips just show the landing. And again, no different than Discovery, the Challenger, all the U.S. It's the same. Like I said, it's a replica. So not to go on too long about this, but there you go. So I'm going to how do I stop sharing?
Yeah, I think you just showed the link, by the way.
Yeah. But that's what I want to get to, is sorry to drag on that for a bit, but my point I'm trying to make is, how they're fooling the world, and how Russia and the U.S. are one, are it's like pro wrestling. They act like they hate each other, but they're doing they're on the same side, fooling the world, part of the world deception. So it's very transparent that those space shuttles, obviously can fly like planes, but that's all they are, planes. So I've had a lot of people that would, like I said, I made a video on it 5-6 years ago, so in love with space shuttles, the idea of, NASA and all that. They just want to believe, it can, fall out of the sky and just, land like a glider. Those wings, no way that those space shuttles can just act as a glider. There's absolutely no way. So not to beat that dead horse, but it's just, like I said, there's so many things to cover when it comes to the NASA fraud, and that's a huge aspect, is the space shuttles. They've never been in space. It's funny, they call space shuttles, they've never been in space. Just airplanes, that's it. But anyways, to move on, but that's just, again, another piece of the puzzle when it comes to NASA's lies and, Russia's lies as well with their bogus space program. And that's the key to a lot of people. That's the key to a lot of people. The argument was, for years was, oh, if America, if the U.S. faked the moon landing, wouldn't Russia, who was in competition supposedly against the U.S. to the race to space, they would blow the whistle? No, because they're working together. So it's not too hard to figure out.
Russianvids, can I just say that you showed the link? I think we should start the hangout again.
What happened?
When you were cutting off your picture, you showed the link, and it just lets people in.
Yeah, it might be a good idea. We can just start up again, can't we? Safe.
F5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
And that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, we'll be back in a moment. We just feel safer starting another hangout, okay?
Do we might have to kick